Hey everybody, it's Pajama Life, and check out our review of Beetlejuice, Civil War, and the Rings of Power now.
My mom grew up here, that old house on the hill.
Wait, the ghost house? Is your mom Lydia Dietz?
Unfortunately.
She's a legend.
When I was a teenager, a trickster demon terrorized my entire family and tried to force me to marry him.
Now's my chance.
Ghosts aren't real. Only gullible people believe that kind of crap.
I can't believe I'm doing this. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
I'm gonna make you so happy.
Recognize this puss.
Never seen that chick before in my life or afterlife.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
I'm needed upstairs.
Hey everybody, it's Pajama Life, and we are reviewing Beetlejuice, Civil War, and Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power episode, Halls of Stone. And these two are with me. Say hello to the people, Patrick.
Hey everybody, glad to have you with us. I can't wait to talk about all these films and series.
David, say hey to the people.
Dale, great to be with you. Looking forward to talking to you tonight. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
And Patrick, why don't you start us off with our review of Beetlejuice?
Okay, without giving away too much. I had to think for a second how much I wanted to go into this, because there were some really it wasn't Tim Burton-y enough for me. I mean, overall it was really good. I mean, it didn't have that ridiculous Tim Burton stuff that I have come to really love about Tim Burton films. It felt really toned down, which is fine. It was still really well done, I gotta say. There were some clever little Easter eggs in there for people that knew the movie, also who knew pop culture. God, I got to talk about one that just really made me go, "Oh my God, this is so great!" The son, the romantic interest for Jenna Ortega's.
Jenna Ortega.
Jenna Ortega's character was named in the show Jeremy, and he killed his parents. Which, if you think back to the Pearl Jam song of the 1990s, and he loved 90s music, Jeremy is right in there. And I was like, oh my God, perfect. That was a kind of a really secondary layer to that, and I thought that was really good. But overall, I mean, it didn't get too deep into certain things. Like I said, it just didn't feel Tim Burton-y enough for me, but I enjoyed it, and it was a great sequel, and there were a lot of little things for those of us that have followed the show, the movie over the years and loved it. But there were also some other things that were, for new people. So I totally loved it.
And David, what did you think? I already know, though.
I thought there were a lot of neat things with it. I loved their use of the special effects. I thought it really harkened back to the old movie. And without giving away too many spoilers, there's a little bit of claymation that's kind of fun, which I enjoyed. Pat makes a great comment about this, maybe not as Tim Burton-y in its quirkiness or weirdness. I thought it was good. You definitely had a sense of Justin Theroux, who's a very talented actor and screen guy. And I can't help but feel like his influence was really evident behind screen as well. It's just my thought, but it was neat to see it. Jenna Ortega, I think, is the perfect actress, I should say, to come into this. And of course, Winona Ryder. And it's a little bit of full circle when Winona Ryder was doing her role. Basically she modeled it after Wednesday Addams, which Jenna Ortega has now taken on as a Netflix show that's very successful. It was good. It was unnecessary. I did enjoy seeing Michael Keaton again. I love him. Vastly underrated. It's great to see him in this. I don't think the film was necessary. Would be my
Okay,
close.
so I really liked it. I almost loved it.
Okay, okay.
Well, part of the reason for me is Miller and Goff, who did Wednesday and who did Into the Badlands, were the writers.
Yeah.
And so I really, Pat, though you say that they toned down the Tim Burton-ness of it, I thought that was great. And you got a feel of them. It's kind of like he's passing the torch some too. Because I think that you get a very sterilized version with Tim Burton, which there's issues for me with him, but I thought that the callbacks to the original movie were really well done. I thought it was a very sensitive way, but kind of snarky the way they did the father, the grandfather. I thought, given that that man has had some very messed up kind of his real life
Problematic,
kind
yes.
of messed
Mr.
up.
Rooney's a bad dude. Can we just
Yeah.
say that? Mr.
Problematic.
Rooney's a
Principal
bad
Rooney.
dude.
Yeah, but I thought his tombstone was hilarious. And the I thought that Jenna Ortega and Winona Ryder could almost look like mother and daughter. It was like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, it was the perfect casting for that. And that they had her father be a Latino man. I thought that was good too. That they had that in there to have some kind of diversity in the film. And I thought that the new villain is amazing. I thought that the makeup they used for the character was perfection, and I know that is going to be a popular Halloween costume this year. And the person looks absolutely incredible. They're on that Ozempic diet.
Well, she was in the Matrix Reloaded.
Oh
and
yeah.
She was amazing
Okay,
as
since we
Persephone in this.
revealed it, it's Monica Bellucci.
Yeah, it
And
was amazing.
she's amazing. She's gorgeous. I thought it was the perfect kind of foil for Beetlejuice, and I thought that it made sense. And how they wrote it was a lot to kind of keep up with in the story, but it all worked together, I thought. So I don't know why people don't like this movie, because I think it's great. And I think, especially for Halloween, I'm surprised it came out with it so early. I really hope that, I think it's going to be one of those movies that you watch at Halloween, just like the original Beetlejuice and the other
Hocus
movies
Pocus.
that, Rocky Horror or something like that. I think it
Rocky
has
Horror,
that kind of
yes.
longevity.
One thing just to throw out there, you mentioned the Monica Bellucci, and I should have mentioned this. When we talk about her makeup and everything,
Yes.
it really harkens to what we saw in the Dark Shadows movie with the villainess in that, in terms of how it was some of the makeup with her.
Oh,
And she was almost like a porcelain doll
yes.
at the end with that kind of. There was that
was
kind of
very
really,
Tim Burton-y to me, the way
it
that
was.
they did that. I
Well,
thought,
it kind of gave you the Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas.
yeah, I
feel
knew
to
it was like
that.
one of them. Yeah,
There's that too. Yeah.
come
yeah.
to life, but Monica Bellucci is, of course, super beautiful. So
Yes, she is.
Sally
thought-
is totally beautiful too. Calm down. Calm down.
But definitely, I think we all agree, Beetlejuice. Go see it in the theater. Okay, next up, it was kind of perfect to watch this week. Civil War. Let's take a look.
19 states have seceded need.
The United States Army ramps up activity.
The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance.
Will be welcomed back to these United States as soon as their illegal secessionist government is deposed.
We're moving to D.C. today.
We need to go down there.
The youth are serious. The United States are vaporized. They shoot us on sight in the Capitol. Every instinct in me says this is death. Flooded.
Every time I survived a war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay? What kind of American are you?
Okay, I'm gonna go first. Hated it. What? Of all the things, I think this movie suffers from bad marketing. I went into it thinking it was one thing, and it's something totally different. It's a movie about journalism. That's what it's about. And I thought it was more of these people on the run for in a parallel America or something. And it's really about journalism. And so I was kind of like, man, this is some deceptive marketing. Those few action scenes you saw in the trailer, that's pretty much it. And there's a bunch of yep. And I just, this was like torture to watch. But it is a cautionary tale of what we need to be careful of. And I wish they had just been more honest about what the focus of it was, because we do need to be careful about journalism and preserving journalism for the truth to be told about what's going on in the world. So I'm just so disappointed in this. David, what did you think?
I too was disappointed in it. There's actually, I was very disappointed in just that it was made. I'm going to say that. Not that they don't have a right to or anything. I'm not, but I'm just concerned with the behavior of
the final shot. Ugh.
All the stuff. To me, there's just such a concern with this story in general, because I think there are people who they want this. Folks that have gone to too many reenactments across the South and remapping that. So there people are kind of geeked out with the concept of what this would look like. They did a nice job, I guess. If you thought you were going to go in and just see, oh well, I know where it's going to be. You've got Texas and California as an alliance. You don't normally think of that. So they kind of had a mishmash of things. But I was concerned generally of the cautionary tale. Really good cast. And I think that line that was in the trailer is a powerful line that we remember. What kind of Americans? That's a problem. That's a problem. That's just a general statement, because we're asking that too damn much at times here. And we're seeing it with this. So,
yeah. Pat, what do you think?
I knew it was about journalism when I started the movie. And I think they did a good job about staying away from labels about R's or D's or, that guy or this guy. I mean, I think they did a real good job about that. I was shocked / pleasantly surprised to see Nick Offerman at the very beginning. And at the very end.
President.
Yeah.
Yes. And he was channeling somebody, and I don't want to know who, but it felt very somebody. But I thought it was not a terribly I mean, I don't know what I was expecting really, other than just a tale about journalism. I knew they did a good job of showing the dangers of when we get to this point. I mean, if we get to that point, once the gloves come off, the gloves are off. They don't come back on. There were several scenes that were very haunting. There were a few bits that felt a little pretentious to me. Like, you know, when they would spend a lot of time looking at this one flower waving in the wind, you know, to illustrate there's beauty in the middle of this battlefield. I mean, that felt very self-indulgent. That was the only real big criticism I had for it. I didn't have a lot of expectations one way or the other when I went to watch it. It wasn't terrible. I didn't fall asleep in it, which is always a high mark that late at night when I'm watching it. Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah.
Credits to her for making the transition to a middle-aged woman without going through a lot of plastic surgery, and she owned it, and I appreciate that. I mean, it's always nice to see people that look real. People that look real. I mean,
is she?
She got to be in her 40s. She got to be in her 40s. I bet you money she's 40 something. I mean, and then you saw, and of course, in the trailer, her husband Jesse Plemons, they were playing.
Yeah, I thought that was cute.
Not a good look for him. I'm just saying, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd call this a 6.5, almost 7. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't
Get
bad.
Out of here! It's
it
a 5 or 4.
I mean, in the way that it's a cautionary tale, it's not the Handmaid's Tale. You're right. But it was a little bit more grounded in reality, so therefore I want to give it a little bit of something because I thought this everybody gotta be careful. Stuff can happen.
Yeah. Well, given the events of the week,
I ain't count that out either. Calm down, everybody.
Wow.
So it to me had the concepts of a plan that never really came through. So
concept of a plan.
So all right. Finally, this week's episode of Lord of the Rings, The Halls of Stone. Let's take a look.
7 rings, and bound within each. Power, masters. Go back and tell them that each of your realms may share in this bounty. But it comes with a price.
Swear to me that you will never wear one of those rings.
I swear it.
I'm certain that we will complete the Rings of Power. Shall we begin?
And our resident Tolkien expert, Patrick.
Okay, let's get into this. First off, the Rings of Power for the dwarves, the 7 dwarven rings, which you saw there, and they were alluded to. They illustrate a power that was never mentioned. The ability to find a light shaft. No, they were designed to get more gold. The whole point was designed to make your greed bigger, which made you much more
powerful,
hooked by Sauron's influence, because those rings were tainted, as were the 9. Right. So the only ones that weren't tainted were the 3, because they were made before before Anatar, the AKA Sauron. Yeah, and I gotta talk about how dumb the elves were at that particular point to just get, this guy knows everything. Let's get him in here. And I'm sure there's no cost at all to his knowledge he's bringing. It was interesting to see Elendil and Numenor trying to, having moments of bad judgment and bad things happen to him, which, he was one of the faithful to the Valar, which were the gods of Middle-earth. It kind of went all over the place, to be really honest. You didn't see anything of the Istar, aka Gandalf, or Proto Gandalf, if you want to call him that, or whatever, the stranger. You didn't see anything of that. This episode's really focused on Celebrimbor making the rings, Durin the Third trying to use the rings, and his son trying to calm down. And then you also saw a little bit about Numenor going on. I enjoyed it, but I had a few issues with a few things. But overall, not too bad.
I thought it was really interesting episode. I thought that I'm waiting for Ellen Deer and the Queen to get together, baby, because he's just so deliciously fine. And one of the characters had a bad end, and I didn't like that. But the story of Galadriel with Adar, I thought that was interesting. And I thought that I do love, I didn't know how much I would really enjoy the dwarfs, but I really enjoy seeing Disa and Baby Durin. I like to call him. I really enjoy seeing that. And at a certain age, I'm a woman of a certain age, and our parents are getting older. And so, you kind of relate to watching your parent become somebody you don't recognize. So I think that is also really an interesting part of it. And as a tip, each week after the episode, they have Inside the Rings of Power episodes where they talk to the real life people playing the characters. And it is really interesting to see them one out of makeup. Durin looks nothing like you think he would. And Ellendale is even more fine, if that's possible. But definitely, I enjoyed this episode. And David, what did you think?
Well, something clicked with me last week.
Yay!
And I really started to get into it. So I really enjoyed this episode. I too liked seeing the dwarves in this and the interactions. I don't have the same connection to the canon or some of the stories. So I'm not seeing I'm not seeing an Easter egg, and I'm not seeing something that's going to rightfully outrage me. But the acting and the interactions between the characters, I'm really enjoying. If I knew that, I might be more of a mind of Pat, because I take canon stuff very seriously.
All my outrage is rightful, by the way. All my outrage is rightful.
I think there was a great Easter egg about the westward door. That was a nice callback to the movies. And you'll see there. I thought, oh wow, that's really cool. I remember that. So I thought that was really neat. But I'm sorry, David, I interrupted you with
No, I did. It was me first.
No, that's all right. But I really enjoyed it. It's stunning to watch. I think you mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. For its value, doing the compare contrast of, say, the Acolyte.
Yeah.
I've got my little May here.
Oh wow, cool.
Got May in the mail. There's no comparison.
No.
I'd love to do. Somebody needs to do an audit. There might be a single audit that needs to take place there, where those funds have gone. Single audit, A123.
Oh no. What I thought I meant to say was that I enjoyed Celebrimbor and them starting to see how Anatar is seducing them. And so I think he's the great seducer, right? So he doesn't just come out with a blam and attack you.
They still got to make the 9, and I'm interested to see where that goes. I mean, because right now they've only made the 7 and the 3. The 9 is the ones that are really, really dangerous.
Yeah. And I think that's probably going to happen next season, I would bet. It's which of the 9 people get it. But how seductive he is. And finally, I think Celebrimbor is figuring it out that, wait a minute. Hey, just like when somebody says something slick to you and you don't realize it until you walk away. Hey, wait a minute. I just been insulted. This is how seducers work. You don't realize you're seduced until you're in the middle of it. And I think that that was really great how they started to show his influence and then his power over it. So definitely, I think it's beautiful to watch. I think there's interesting stories where they're going, and definitely check out the inside the episode ish of it, and to give you a deeper dive into talking with the executive producers, the writers, and the stars. So that is our show, but we wanted to take a little bit of time out. We had a very big loss in the Star Wars community with the homegoing of our brother James Earl Jones. He is just such an amazing actor whose career spanned over 50, 60, maybe even 70 years. And some of the most popular and enduring movies of our times, all of the Star Wars movies and TV shows, the some of his great other films included The Great White Hope, Claudine, for those of us who might know that. He played Othello. He played in Conan the Barbarian.
Sandlot. He was
the Sandlot. What's that baseball movie?
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams.
You know, and that was a very poignant moment. At the time I didn't appreciate, but remembering how important baseball was to Black people, and him giving that great speech really means something. And he managed to infuse such dignity and character. Even is a great lion in The Lion King. I can't even imagine anybody else's voice being Mustafa. You know, it's just unimaginable. So, and it's just unimaginable Star Wars without James Earl Jones in the new. But shoot, with AI, they'll probably copy his voice. So
I think they already have, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's has I think a couple of Oscars, and he may be an EGOT. So if not, he's definitely got an Emmy, a Grammy, an Emmy, an Oscar, and a Tony, as well as his great August Wilson plays that he was in on Broadway. So, Patrick, got any words about our great everybody's real father?
I am not your father. Such a heart, you'll see it to be true. That's all I got. I mean, it was. It
you
was.
said not your father, but
well, because I'm not your father. I'm not James Earl Jones. I never ever pretended to be that. It was sad. I almost wore a black armband at work that week, saying, but he was the voice of. I mean, yeah, that voice, man. It just really is iconic. And there's a couple of memes if you ever really just want to see the wonder in a child's eyes. Look up about. It's like a 10-year-old kid watching it and their dad taping it. That moment in The Empire Strikes Back where, you know, no, it's not true. I'm your father. And this kid's like, what? And I remember that feeling, and it's just amazing. It was part of some, like you said, some of the most iconic movies. And his Othello is
yes.
No notes. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, everybody froze
Looks
up
like
on
we
me.
lost Pat's voice.
We're losing him a little bit.
Yeah. David, go ahead and talk about your
Well, yeah,
thoughts.
he was incredible. I'm so glad Pat mentioned Othello because his ability with that voice, he can do any kind of story, but my goodness, it would have been a crime if he had not done Shakespeare with that beautiful voice. Pam and I were talking earlier this week. He also narrated the Bible. And so, whatever your religious belief, certainly I find it, especially as a Christian, as someone to really special listening to his voice read those words. I went to sleep many a night with it over the years. But he means so much to all of us who have grown up and Star Wars is a part of our lives. So many people brought George Lucas's vision to life, from Ralph McQuarrie and John Williams to the incredible cast with Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford. David Prowse was the body. You want to give him credit. And James Earl Jones was the voice. God bless you, Peter Mayhew and Kenny Baker. We've still got Anthony Daniels around. But it is a big loss for the film industry and for those who've loved movies. What a great American. What an amazing career. And you just, a job well done. Few people, if you could anybody do their job as well as James Earl Jones did, wow, that is a great professional. So our hearts to his family and friends. And for those of us, we'll weep a little, but watch his films and enjoy.
Yeah. So if you can, take a look at some of his great works and some of the lesser known works and understand how powerful a man and an actor and an artist that we lost. And so, unfortunately, we have to say goodnight. And we will see you next time on PJama Life. Take care. Bye.